Apparently, Aaron does not want me to continue talking to everyone on a one-to-one basis. Okay, everyone come forward. This is at the instruction of Benji. Anyone else in the back? Gewurzes, you're all the way back there. Combses, Combseem, move up. Combsai? No, Combseem, no? Okay. Ooh, someone listened. Good evening, everyone. I think most of you know me, but maybe not. I'm Billy Markson, and as president of the Federation of the Lehigh Valley, I am delighted to welcome all of you here tonight. Before we get started, I wanted to thank Temple Bethel for hosting us and for their hospitality. I also wanted to express our deepest sympathies to Michelle Rohrbach, Temple Bethel's executive director, on the passing of her father-in-law. Michelle, we are thinking of you. I don't know if she's here, but she was here. Okay. Anyway, we are thinking of her during these difficult times. Tonight, we are happy to welcome Benji Lovett to our community. As we all know, all roads lead to the Lehigh Valley, and Benji is here not only to entertain us, but also to visit his brother, Stephen, who is a physician in our community. Stephen, where are you? I just want you to, there he is at the desk, there, selling the books. Nice. In addition to those books, I just want to let you know we have a very good deal for you. It's a 3-year to ramp up to full Maimonides membership to be a contributing member of our community. So I saw the 2 thumbs up, Aaron. Did you see that? Okay. Also, I wanted to ask you a question, Stephen. Did your parents, it's really for Benji, I suppose. Did your parents go to your medical school graduation? I heard, I don't know if this is a true story, but that your mother said to her seat partner, see that guy up there? His brother is a comedian. I went off script, Aaron. Benji is a well-known comedian who mixes his observations on Israeli society with his lifelong involvement in Jewish education to create a hilarious narrative that has brought smiles to faces all over the world. Since making Aliyah in 2006, Benji has been called upon by Jewish organizations to share his insights into cultural differences as he translates both the challenges and the marvels of life in Israel. His perspectives have been featured on Israeli TV and radio, as well as in outlets such as USA Today, Time Magazine, BBC Radio, The Atlantic, and The Times of Israel. Benji is co-author of the award-winning book, Israel 201, which I believe is at the front, alongside Joel Chasnoff, whom we hosted a few years ago, a member of the Schusterman Foundation's ROI community, and a frequent presenter at Limud conferences. He is also the co-founder of TLV Laughs, one of Israel's top stand-up shows, which features English-speaking comics from around the world. Please join me in giving a warm Lehigh Valley welcome to Benji Lovett.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming out tonight. It is great to be here. I've been in the States for about 3 weeks. This is my last gig before I go back to Israel, and it's been wonderful, and I'm glad you came out tonight. We're going to have a good time tonight. Before I show you some stuff up here, I want to just make you laugh a little bit. I live in Tel Aviv. If that wasn't clear, I do stand-up in Israel in English, and I love performing there because I get to tell jokes I would not tell anywhere else. For example, my Israeli neighbor is obsessed with Barbie. How do I know? Every night I hear her screaming, Ken, Ken, Ken. Now, I don't need to explain that, do I? All right. Well, we're here to laugh tonight. As you can see up there, the theme is it's okay to laugh. And this is something I've known for a while. I think in the Jewish people, we know that we have to laugh to keep from crying. But I really had it reinforced to me in my time in Israel, especially during Corona, right? If you had told someone 5, 6 years ago that 1 million Americans would die from Corona, we would have thought we would never laugh again. But we did. We laughed at masking and social distancing and not knowing how to use Zoom. I mean, I knew Corona was going to be bad. In March of 2020, I was in the States for shows, had to cancel them all and fly back to Israel. The minute I landed at Ben Gurion Airport, security looked at me and said, "From now on, you must keep a distance of 2 meters." And all I could think was, oh my God, now I have to learn the metric system. I knew I shouldn't have moved to Israel. We have to laugh there, it's stressful. We're gonna have another election this next year. Do you know how often we vote in Israel? Yeah, I've lived there 19 years. I voted 1, 2, 3, 45,000 times. It's a lot of times. I know, we had an election here yesterday. Well, I don't know how things are here. Our election is very different from yours. I have never heard an Israeli voter say, if Bibi wins again, so help me God, I'm moving to Lebanon. I'll do it. I don't care. But a lot of my Jewish identity came from Jewish summer camp growing up. I'm sure we have graduates or parents of Jewish summer campers here, yes? All right. What are some of the things we take from camp? We love camp. What do we take from our camp experience? What's that? Friends of a lifetime, Jewish culture, Jewish values. You know what we did not get from camp? Hebrew. You might have thought you learned Hebrew. You learned nouns. You see, no one ever left camp able to say a full sentence. I mean, I guess if you ever find yourself in this situation where you have to say singing, dancing, camper, counselor, dining room, you might be okay. If you think you learned Hebrew at Jewish summer camp, try telling LL security. So, do you know Hebrew? Why, sure, I worked at Jewish summer camp. אז מה אתה עושה פה? שקט בבקשה? Shabbat shalom. That's pretty much what we know. So who's been to Israel before? Clap your hands. A lot of you have been there before? Did you feel safe there? Yes, I think I feel safer there than in the States. Right? But when you get to the States, you're not thinking about conflict. You're not thinking about war. You're probably going to get off the plane, look around and say, look at all these Jewish people. It's crazy. And they're different from us. Right? All the stereotypes of American Jews out the window. Guy driving the bus, Jewish. Guy working at McDonald's, Jewish. My first time there, I was held up at knife point. Jewish criminal. How do I know? He took my wallet and invited me for Shabbat dinner. Is that beautiful? Only in Israel. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I know that's not very popular here. Are you guys all Birds fans? See, here's the thing. I used to hate the Eagles growing up. I hated the Eagles. I thought they were the worst thing in the world. And then I found that my enemies became Islamic Jihad and Hezbollah. Suddenly the Eagles didn't seem so bad. But I grew up in Young Judea. I don't know if anyone knows Young Judea, a youth group. Any of those here? I spent a year in Israel before university. I moved to New York. I worked for Young Judea, and it wasn't for me. And every time I visited Israel, I loved it so much. And at some point I said, if I don't give it a try and just spend some time there, I'm going to regret it forever. So I did the craziest thing I've ever done, and I moved there 19 years ago. And somehow, for the last 15 or so years, I've found this interesting niche. I would call it a combination of informal Jewish education and humor. Oftentimes that's stand-up comedy about Israel for Jewish communities in America, for English speakers in Israel. It could be a cultural differences workshop, perhaps for an Israeli high-tech company who works with American clients because we think they're rude, they think we're fake. How do we overcome the cultural gap? And sometimes it could look like a presentation about Israeli humor. Well, a couple of years ago, my friend Joel Chasnoff and I wrote a book called Israel 201. It's not the 101, it's not the intro, it's the next level. It's things you didn't even know you didn't know. I'll talk more about that later. And we were coming to the States to do a book tour to talk about Israel beyond the conflict. I was to arrive in the States on October 12th, 2023. I know, great timing. 5 days earlier, the worst day in Israel's history, and I thought, what the heck am I going to talk about? It was very hard to be here. If there are any New Yorkers here, after 9/11, people wanted to be in New York, they wanted to be in their home, connect with their people. I wanted to be there. And I said, if I'm going to be here, I have to do my part and try to help in any way that I can. And maybe that's raising people's spirits. So I say that I channeled my inner Israeli. I pivoted, I improvised, and I created a new presentation on the power of dark humor and how we have to laugh to keep going. I presented to every Jewish community I could find, and about 98% of them to this day will say, please, yes, we need that. And once in a while, a community will still say, we just don't think that's appropriate. And that will be both frustrating and so disappointing for me, because they are missing such an important lesson that I think we all know deep down. We have to laugh to keep from crying. We know this as Jewish people. Sometimes it may not feel right, but I can promise you, we all do it. This is not a controversial statement. I'm not telling you, you must laugh. I'm telling you, you all do, and you laugh at dark things. And it's okay. For the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how we do that. We're going to talk about why. And then we're going to look at some actual, very funny Israeli comedy. Now, what things do you think should be off limits? What things do you think maybe we shouldn't laugh at in comedy? Anybody call it out? Terrorism. Well, we have some of that coming tonight. Oftentimes, someone will say the Holocaust. Holocaust, terrible. I don't have to convince you of that. Okay, who likes the producers? Okay, why do we like, anybody, why do we like the producers? Why do we laugh at that? Say it louder. So, okay, say more. Springtime Feller, what does that mean? Why do we laugh at that? Because it's absurd more. Okay, we don't talk about comedy often, or we don't think about it. It's complicated. It's a science and an art. So I'm going to pull the answers out of you. It's absurd. More. What is it about the producers that makes it okay for us to laugh? Guys, who made it? Mel Brooks. What religion is Mel Brooks? Does that make it okay? Right, it makes us feel better. Mel Brooks was in the American Army, helped liberate one of the camps, and said, this was so awful, I can either spend the rest of my life haunted, or I could get revenge by mocking the Nazis. Right, so, okay, if we think that's okay, the Holocaust, to joke about, not to belittle, not to make fun of suffering, but to laugh about, then probably there's everything else we can also put under that umbrella. What else? Any other topics do you think are pretty awful? All right, I'll show you one. Oftentimes, someone will raise their hand and say, rape. And I will say, we can all agree rape is awful. There's no disagreeing. Please watch a clip of 3 female comedians talking about that topic. First of all, can you hear that in the back? Can we turn that louder, please? Tech guys on the side? They're checking the score of the 76ers game. Hey, fellas, you think they speak English? Should I go? Maybe they're doing something more interesting. What do you think they're doing over there? Hey, can we turn it up? Oh, thank you. Those guys. All right, for those who heard the clip, what do you think of that? What do you think of what they said? You don't think you don't think it was funny? Was what they were saying supposed to be funny? No. What were they trying to say? Why is it okay to talk about it?
Because it makes you feel more comfortable about it.
Okay, it makes you feel more comfortable. What else? What were they saying? Were they belittling victims? No. So what were they saying? That's why it wasn't talked about in the past. Because why would you talk about this? Because for too long, terrible things were happening. People like Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein, no one was talking about it. It's time to hold them accountable, to bring attention to it, to inspire other victims, maybe even to give ourselves a little therapy. Seems reasonable? Look, if I, as a man, 3 minutes ago said, I think it's okay to joke about that, you would have said, this guy is a jerk, but it's more complicated, right? Cancer, awful, not funny. Tig Notaro, anyone know Tig Notaro? You know her. Did you hear her cancer bit? Okay. She announced announced on stage. You want to see? Okay. She said on stage for the first time that I have cancer. She talked about it, not because she was happy about it, because she felt awful, and that was her way of processing it, of inspiring other people. So clearly, it's complicated. Let's take a look at a clip from a comedian named Louis C.K., who also didn't do wonderful things as an individual, but we know that comedy doesn't just make us laugh, it makes us think. Right? Lenny Bruce, George Carlin, right? So sort of philosophers, social commentators. Let's see why he thinks it's okay to laugh about bad things. Can you hear that? Can we make it louder, please? Give a round of applause to this guy. It was all working an hour ago. I don't know which one of you messed with it. No, it's not controlled from there. It's from... Should we try it again? All right. What? Yes. We have a doctor here. Do you do this at the synagogue? He's a board member. Do you deal with sound at the synagogue? Oh. Let's try that again. Do we have anything else to do over there? Here better. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, they're working on the sound. We're going to try to do that again, and let's try that one more time and hold the microphone up to the computer.
Are there places you won't go, will not go?
That's
Only if it's not funny or if it's boring.
That's it.
Yeah, or somebody else has been there heavily, then I won't go there usually because it's boring. Yeah, it's only if it's boring. But I don't. I remember saying one time that saying that a joke is too awful, saying that something is too terrible to joke about, is like saying that a disease is too terrible to try to cure it. I mean, that's what you do with awful things. You joke about them. That's how you get through it. It's how you survive life.
It's the only way you can talk.
Yeah, so to say that's so terrible, I can't joke about it, that's totally counterintuitive to me. It's like, if it's that awful, you better start joking about it. Because that's how human beings get through it.
Thank you to Aaron from the Federation. I don't know when Super Sunday is, but you all need to write a big check. So what is he saying? He's saying when something is so terrible, if we can't laugh at it, it's going to be even worse, right? I use COVID as an example. COVID was awful. Again, it'll come back. The Jewish people have been through much worse. We can deal with this. It's okay. I mean, again, COVID, no one's laughing at people dying. They're laughing at everyday things because we had to get through it for 2 years about being stuck at home with our kids or our spouses, whatever. So when something is that bad, it's natural to laugh at it. Let's look at this. When her mom, okay, you know what? We'll watch. Do you like Mary Tyler Moore? All right, we're going to watch this. This will make up for the sound. You may know the Chuckles the Clown episode. So a clown is dressed as a peanut. An elephant tries to pick him and accidentally kills him. Mary finds this horribly sad and is disgusted with her coworkers for laughing about it. Let's see what ensues.
It's a release, a kind of defense mechanism. Oh, it's like whistling in a graveyard. You laugh at something that scares you. We laugh at death because we know that death will have the last laugh on us.
Bert, you're not making jokes about that.
I'm sorry, Mary. Oh, it's a release, Mary. People need it to get over a tragedy. Everybody does it.
I don't.
I wonder which ones are the other clowns. You'll know soon. They're all gonna jump out of a little hearse.
This is a funeral. A man has died. We came here to show respect, not to laugh.
I'm sorry, Mary. All right, no more jokes. Chuckles the Clown brought pleasure to millions. The characters he created will be remembered by children and adults alike. Peter Peanut, Mr. Fee-Fi-Fo, Billy Banana, and my particular favorite, Aunt Yoo-Hoo. And not just for the laughter that they provided. There was always some deeper meaning to whatever Chuckles did.
We are terrible at predicting what we will find funny. So again, terrorism, rape, cancer, death, those things are awful. But there's not a topic that someone can't find some aspect to laugh about. Death. When her mom was dying of COVID-19, Conan writer Laurie Kilmartin turned tragedy into comedy. It's what she does. Thank you for sending love to my mom, but really it's my dead dad who needs your thoughts and prayers. I'm sure he thought he'd get a few more years to himself. Why she joked about her mother's death? To cope with it. Okay, can anyone here raise their hand and admit that they've laughed at a funeral or a shiva? Anyone want to give an example of why, what it did for you?
It was my uncle's funeral, and as my mother and his brothers and sisters were going to the cemetery, there was a gravestone that said, "Here lies Slugger," and they just broke up, and they couldn't stop laughing throughout the whole ceremony, because someone would say Slugger, and then they start all laughing again.
Why do we, yes?
I was at the cemetery, and the grave nearby, someone had left a hot dog on. And so that was the, when we went for, like, the funeral, and then when we were there, like, a year later, when the grave's there, and we went back, and this time there was a can of Coke on that grave.
I mean, when something is so dark like that, it's the most incongruous things make us laugh. I mean, I had a sister who passed away a few years ago, and in our parents' retirement home, they listed the day's events on the schedule in the elevator, and it said 7 p.m. Love at Shiva, 8 p.m. Beverly Hills Cop, and I just laughed at that. It's unexpected. It's a surprise. So I hear that medical professionals have dark senses of humor. Any doctors, nurses, medical professionals who could admit to? Oh, okay, let's hear from my brother over there. Anyone else? All these Jews, one of you is a doctor, I know it. People in the army, people in the armed services. I don't know if anyone here was in the army. I know people, when they're out in the field, have dark stories. Because what do these things have in common? They're dealing with life and death. Let's take a look at an old classic joke. A Jewish man is sitting on a bench reading his newspaper when an anti-Semite approaches him and says, "You know, all the world's problems are because of the Jews." The Jewish man looks up and replies, "And the bicycle riders." The anti-Semite replies befuddled, "Why the bicycle riders?" The Jewish man responds, "Why the Jews?" What purpose does this joke serve? What's that? It's silly, it's ridiculous. But it shows the absurdity of anti-Semitism. Okay, there are a lot of crazy people in the world right now. Some of them are out on the streets. Some of them are online. Would you like to have a discussion with these crazies? No, you're not going to get anywhere. But a joke like this can show how absurd something is in a way that discussion can't. Right? Think about Saturday Night Live or Jon Stewart or whatever your favorite political satire. Why do they talk about the news? Because it's depressing. And humor sometimes is the only way to get over it. From Elie Wiesel's book Night, even in the Holocaust, in Treblinka, where a day's food with some stale bread and a cup of rotting soup, one prisoner cautions a fellow inmate against gluttony. Hey, Moshe, don't overeat. Think of us who will have to carry you. I mean, is that surprising that someone in a camp would make a joke? Why would they do that? To make it like, I mean, when something is so awful, it's natural to try to normalize it by bringing it down to earth through humor. It can be not as awful and imposing. Now that we're on the same page about that, let's look at some Israeli humor, because Israeli humor is different from American humor. Right? In American humor, historically, it's been about the Nebish or Jewish stereotypes or Jewish mothers, guilt. Right? Israelis are not your Ashkenazi, Nebishi Jews, minorities in their own country. What happens when Jews get their own country and become the majority? Right? Israelis are different, so you might expect the comedy to be different. Let's take a look at a sketch from a sketch comedy show. In this sketch, there is a track and field competition in Germany, and an Israeli delegation of athletes shows up to participate. Let's see what happens.
Excuse me, Dr. Valentin. מחזיק, כמו חדש, מה אתה מסתכל את זה? Hello and good evening. We are from the Israeli delegation, and we wanted to ask for a favor. Look, I'll be honest with you. It's about the Bahorchik in under 6, the little one. He is, how do you say, not very fast. Slow even, very. But very talented. Very. And we want to ask you for a little favor. Nothing big, just to give him 5-6 meter fall. Wolfgang, come on, what do you say? Only 6 meters. Anywhere he will get lost. We just want to smaller the Ashpala. You know, it's not nice. His mother is in the, איך אומרים, stadium. In the stadium. Look over there, his mother. Very brave women. After all she's been through, she came back to here to see her son running. It breaks the heart. Wolfgang, look at them. They are all steroids. Only him with the fist like a מקלות של ארטיקים. What's he asking from you? Just a little help to smaller the historic עוול. No, what do you say? 8 meters? וולפגנג. אתם הגויים, לב של אבן יש לכם. All you want to להשפיל אותנו. תירגע, פלדרמאוס. שאני רגע, שהכלב יירגע. How do you not ashamed? You not see Schindler? All the television of the world watching us? You don't care. Haven't the Jewish people suffered enough? Haven't the Jewish people suffered enough? תירגע, פלדרמאוס. חבל על הנרבים, תירגע. מה כבר ביקשנו? למדליה ביקשנו, לנצח. 9 מטר, זה הכל. מה אתה נוצר להשפיל? Come on, finish the work. I'm a Jew too. Finish the work. Finish the work. פלדרמאוס, די. חתיכת טכנוקרט, אייכמן. I'm sorry, guys. The Jewish people, thank you very much. You are a great man. Thank you very much. עוד, קח את זה עוד. Stop! Not too much! He's a good boy. Yeah. You are a great man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. פסח כשר שיהיה לך. Thank you. After this, we take your details and we build a big tree on your name in the Hasidic.
One of the topics in Israel 201 we talk about is Israeli humor, and it's very different. Right? It's not two Jews, in the shtetl making fun of their government. Right? In here, it's Israel often against the world, right? There's still unsettled scores. So what's being made fun of here? Jewish athletes, Jewish mothers, Germans just following orders, Holocaust guilt, right? The idea that a few meters could possibly make up for the atrocities. Planting a tree, right? The JNF. Chutzpah. Right? But what we learned from an Israeli comedy writer from this book is this is a very revealing sketch. It reveals the scars of Israelis. Right? Just because we have a state, it doesn't mean the 2,000 years of DNA just go away. Right? Auschwitz was still only 80 years ago. And when something like October 7th happens, it rips those scars apart, and we feel like, again, the whole world is against us. So that's a famous line, haven't the Jewish people suffered enough? Right? It never stops. We're going to watch another sketch, and what's interesting, and one of the things that is special about Israeli humor is that there's certain things that you wouldn't want to joke about abroad. I wouldn't want my non-Jewish friends seeing that last sketch. Right? Are they going to get it? Are they going to take the wrong message from it? Are they going to think maybe it's okay for them to make jokes? But when it's the only place in the world with a Jewish majority, you can have these conversations. So I hate the term Holocaust joke. You know, the American Jew in me doesn't like that. And I know a lot of comedians in America, Jewish or not, maybe will use the Holocaust in a punchline for shock value. But in Israel, you can explore things on a much deeper level. The Jews Are Coming is a show, Hayudim Ba'im, sketch comedy about Israeli and Jewish history. This is another sketch related to the Holocaust, addressing an aspect you would have never thought about. Let's take a look.
השנה 1962. אדולף אייכמן נמצא אשם במשפטו, וכעת מדינת ישראל ניצבת בפני אתגר חדש. ביצוע ההוצאה להורג הראשונה בתולדותיה.
האם היית רוצה להגיד מילים אחרונות לפני שנבצע את גזר הדין?
אני רוצה לומר שאני לא מתחרט על שום דבר.
וסרמן, רשמת את זה?
לא.
יופי. מתחילים ו... כמה זמן זה אמור לקחת?
עד שהוא נחנק, תראה לי.
לא, באיזשהו שלב המפלגת שלו צריכה להישבר איכשהו.
אולי כדאי לפתוח דלת?
לפתוח דלת, כן, רעיון מצוין. ואז תברח, נכון?
דלת ברצפה.
וסרמן, יש דלת ברצפה?
לא נראה לי.
הנה הדלת המחורבנת שלך, יא נאצי. זהו, הפעם זה קורה. יש לך מילים אחרונות?
אני רוצה להגיד...
רק קודם בוא נוודא שאלה באמת המילים האחרונות, כי קודם דיברת סתם ובסוף יצא פרש.
טוב, אבל אני...
וסרמן, הדלת. זהו, זה אייכמן חביבי, יש דלת, יש חבל. פעם זה הסוף שלך. יש לך מילים אחרונות?
תגמרו עם זה כבר, חובבנים.
סנצרמן, רשמת את זה? בכל זאת, מילים אחרונות, לא? קדימה, וסרמן, הדלת. וסרמן, החבל לא אמור להיות קשור לאנשהו? זהו, אייכמן. פעם זה קורה. מילים אחרונות? אני הייתי רוצה להגיד כמה מילים קודם, ברשותך. כשהתחלנו את כל הסיפור הזה לפני 53 ניסיונות, אז אמרתי לעצמי, זהו, תוך דקה אני לא אראה אותו יותר. והנה אנחנו כאן, חצי שנה אחרי, והתחברנו. ותדע לך שאני למדתי ממך המון. כל הקטע הזה עם הדלת נהדר.
אתה מוכן להתקדם עם זה?
בטח. בוודאי. תרגולת עשינו מקודם, מורידים את החבל למטה, מושך חבל למטה.
תמשוך את הקטר, תמשוך את הקטר.
את הקטר אני תופס אותו
אתה מטעה אותו. לא, אתה מטעה אותו, הלולאה למעלה. תמשוך את הקטר.
איזה לולאה?
תנו לי!
אייכמן, בלי עצבים בבקשה.
אם אתה רוצה לעשות משהו כמו שצריך, אתה צריך לעשות את זה בעצמך.
וואו, איזה
איזה מקצוען זה,
אני יודע, זה הכל בפרק של הכף היד. הוא עשה את זה גם מהר.
טוב, מה, חומוס?
יאללה.
יאללה, וסרמן. בואו.
Right, that would never be on TV in America, but when it's a Jewish country, that's the kind of stuff we can watch.
פלצר.
War humor. At least in my generation, comedians in America don't joke about war because we have no war on American soil. But when it's a reality in Israel, and most people go to the army at the age of 18, it's something that affects everyone. 11 years ago, August, or the summer of 2014, it was Operation Protective Edge, another war between Israel and Hamas. And on the worst day of the war for Israel, 13 soldiers died. When even one soldier dies, it is national news. Everyone knows that person's name. It's a tragedy. And that evening, I was to take part in an English comedy show in Tel Aviv. I was the first one on stage, and I thought, what the heck am I going to do? I don't remember how I figured it out, but I just went on stage and said, good evening. It's been an awful day. I wish there was something I could do to undo it. Could I just have your permission to try to distract you for a few minutes and make you laugh? Everyone cheered. The show started. Everyone did great. I wish that was the last tragic event I performed after, but I learned such a valuable lesson that why did they laugh that night? Is it because they didn't care? Is it because they were in denial? No, it's because things are awful. And if we can't find a way to move on, how can we even get out of bed in the morning? Here's a joke about war. It sounds like it's about war, but maybe it's about something else. From a comedian named Yossi Tarablus, let's take a look.
Now, the problem here now in Israel is that now it's summer vacation for the students, and the last operation was during November, and there was a problem because after every rocket, in Beersheba, Ashdod, or Ashkelon, the schools were closed. Nobody went to school. Okay, and the students, they started to understand the equation, and they started to root for Hamas. Instead of letters to soldiers, they were writing text messages for Hamas. Dear Muhammad, I have a math test next week, and it's my birthday, okay? The coordinates of the school are 38.7 east, share location, WhatsApp. That's it. And it's hard, it's the thing that bothers me is that we're sending a lot of, to the soldiers, we're sending them a lot of candy and a lot of, bamba and a lot of biscuit and a lot of cakes, and they are supposed to go in the tunnels, and they're for the tunnels, okay? Send them rice cakes or something.
That's right. What's that joke about? Kids don't want to go to school, right? Life goes on even when things are bad. The sirens, right? Thank goodness for the Iron Dome. It's our missile defense system. Doesn't happen often, but the last 2 years there have been a lot of sirens for missiles coming in. In Tel Aviv, you have 90 seconds to run to your basement or your safe room, and the more it happens, your ear starts to play tricks on you. Wait, was that a siren? What was that? In this next sketch, you only need to know the Hebrew words. Did you hear that? Siren. What was that? What was that? This is what it looks like when everything starts to sound like a siren.
אזעקה! 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 מה זה היה? ממי, שמעת את זה? מה זה? יו, אזעקה! אימא'לה! אימא'לה! יו! שמעתם את זה? שמעתם את זה? מה זה היה? שמעת את זה? שמעת את זה? שמעת את זה עכשיו. לא? לא?
יש לך את זה בצבע אדום?
יש לך את זה בצבע אדום. Do you have this in the color red? צבע אדום is also code red. Make a run for it. And now we're at October 7th. And there was nothing funny that day. The only thing we could compare it to is 9/11. What's interesting is that after 9/11, there was no social media. When did comedy come back? We had to wait until Saturday Night Live came back and Jon Stewart and David Letterman. With social media, anyone can upload anything at any time. And certainly nobody was uploading edgy political satire or divisive commentary. The first things people uploaded within days were celebrating heroism. Because we know on October 7th, when the army wasn't there, regular Israelis got in their cars and they drove down and they saved people. That is what people celebrated to make us feel better. You may have heard about this woman. I'll give you a second to read that. People know this woman, Rachel? She was a grandmother in her home. Terrorists burst in, and she thought, if I'm going to survive, I have to be relatable. I have to remind them of their mother. She said, you must be hungry. Would you like something to eat? Some cookies? Would you like some tea? And they spared her long enough to be saved. So this is an image that someone made. I'll translate it for you. It says, "Ha'atar hazeh mishtamesh be'ugiot chamud, ani mekabel." You know when you go to a website and you get a message, would you like to accept the cookies? This is saying, this website uses cookies, chamud, sweetie, I accept. On October 10th, President Joe Biden gave the most pro-Israel speech anyone had ever heard. And he said, for any countries like Iran who are thinking about jumping into this war, don't. This is a woman late at night looking in the fridge.
Don't.
And soon after October 7th, the world started to turn against us. Many people, many countries, even before Israel had done anything. And when the war began, the BBC was spreading lies and encampments began on college campuses. And that's when comedy came back to call out one topic, hypocrisy. Because Israel often feels like it's held to a higher standard than any other country. You may have seen this before. Either you get it or you don't. I'm not going to explain that one. This is a real phone call between an Israeli comedian making a prank call to a University of Yale administrator. Take a listen.
Good afternoon, President's office. This is speaking.
Hello. Is this the President Office of University of Yale?
Yes, it is.
This is Sarit from the Office of Jewish Culture in Israel. Shalom, as we say.
Thank you. Shalom to you.
We've read this week that you removed the word Israeli from the Israeli couscous dish with the spinach and the tomatoes in your cafeteria.
Okay.
Your spokesman said that it was because the authenticity of the food and naming of recipes have been a concern brought to you by your students.
Okay.
And we understand that cultural appropriation is something that is very important to you.
That's not anything that I've heard of, but I'd be glad to look into it for you.
Cultural appropriation is important to us too, and we have noticed that your logo of the university has Hebrew letters that assemble the Hebrew phrase Urim Vetumim from our Torah. Now our question is, are you a Hebrew institution?
You know, ma'am, that's a wonderful question, and I'm not able to answer that question either. Boy, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Do you know the university's logo?
Yes, I do, and you're asking me.
Because the Hebrew is the cultural asset of the Jewish people in the state of Israel, and we never gave permission to use it.
Okay, never gave permission.
We would request that you remove the Hebrew letters from your logo.
Remove the letters, okay.
But if you fail to do so, we will file a suit for copyright as well as cultural harassment.
Copyrights and harassment. Could you say it how you're saying it again?
Urim vetumim. It means light and innocence.
Light and innocence. Thank you for telling me that. Okay. And from the Torah.
Yes.
Light and innocence. So I will take that information down in all the notes that I've written as well.
Because the innocent are like a light that light the world.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm just going to write that.
Thank you. We have in Israel official descendants of the high priest in the Beit Mikdash that used to wear the Hoshen, and on the Hoshen was the Urim Vetumim, and they are very offended that you use their Urim Vetumim on your logo.
So the formal request is coming from the Office of Jewish Cultural Center in.
Are you all right,
Israel.
dear?
Yes, I am. And from Israel, right? You're calling from Israel.
Yes. The color yellow on your logo is also ours, but we will discuss this some other time.
Okay.
Now, you can use a different Hebrew phrase for your logo if you would like, and I can send you the text of whatever it is we allow you to use.
Okay.
Like Lechem Chavita, or Shnufim, or Anachnu Universita Tifsha.
Okay.
Those phrases you can use it. They're in Hebrew, and we will allow it.
Okay. Understood. Understood.
I think it's
All right.
time the Jewish people take back the cultural assets that the rest of the world took from them.
Well, I will certainly pass this along. I will try to get the information about the couscous.
In Hebrew, we say koskos, so if you can say that.
Couscous.
Yeah.
Okay. I will add that to the email as well.
Good. And I will send you the Hebrew phrases that we allow you to put on your logo.
Wonderful.
Again, this is making fun of hypocrisy. Okay, I said at the beginning that some communities don't get it. Several months ago for Purim, a community in Israel asked me to do a stand-up show or this, and they said, just no war jokes. I said, are you crazy? That's what we have to talk about. It would be weird not to. Right? Imagine turning on any news satirical show and not talking about the events of the week. Right? That's what people need to laugh about. And again, this isn't making fun of suffering or death. It's making fun of all the things that come from the tragedy. We have a few more clips that you are going to love. This is another clip from a comedian named Tal Solomon joking about the war, or maybe he's joking about something else.
אנחנו ננצח את המלחמה הזאת, מה דעתכם? ננצח את המלחמה עם חמאס? אני כל הזמן שומע אנשים שהם פסימיים, שאומרים כזה, לא, אי אפשר לנצח את חמאס, כי חמאס הוא רעיון, ואי אפשר לחסל רעיון. ואני לא מסכים עם זה בכלל, כי אני פעם באתי לאשתי עם רעיון, שאני רוצה לטוס עם חבר לווגאס לחודש. הרעיון הזה חוסל ברגע. אני אומר לכם, לא היו שלבים ללחימה, היא לא הייתה צריכה אישור מהאמריקאים, היא רק עשתה ובכיתי, וזהו. ולא דיברנו על זה מאז.
Here's one more comedy clip from a guy named Yochai Sponder. He's been very popular since October 7th on social media. Some of you have seen him. In this clip, he's talking to a British woman, where he's outside of Israel, speaking with a British woman about the Middle East.
Since she calls colonizer, I told her, don't you ashamed of you? Where the colonizer? You guys rode to the other side of the world, right? At least we have the same territory. The fight is in the same territory. We live next to the fight. Yes, it's a conflict. It's complicated. It's not as complicated. It's very simple. We want to have peace, and they said, no, we want to kill you all. And we said, let's meet in the middle. Kill half of us, okay? They said, no, we want to kill you all. Okay, so let's fight. But we share a border. You guys rode. Before the times of the engines, they rode manually. You know how much hate you've got to have to row manually? 3 oceans straight. Christopher. Yes, Charles? Let's people that we never met before.
Little Yom Kippur humor from last year. It says, Slicha im pagati, I'm sorry if I hurt you. And what is it written on? Page, remember the Hezbollah operation, the Mossad operation Hezbollah last year? This is, that's the supreme leader of Iran. It says, your place in line is 1. He's on the phone with Israel customer support, so he's next. A year ago, someone raised their hand and said, I know something you can't joke about, the hostages. And it took me a minute to think about it. I couldn't think of anything, but soon after, this came out, and again, there is nothing that we can't laugh about. It doesn't mean we're laughing at it, but it's so depressing that we have to laugh somehow. This is from a sketch comedy show making fun of the Red Cross for their inability to visit our hostages during the war.
When you've been away for a while, you want to be taken home by someone special. For those once-in-a-lifetime moments, we proudly introduce the Red Cross Ride Share app.
Red Ride for hostage? Am I saying that right? Hey, do you want a water or like the aux cable or anything?
It's about time. Where have you been? Why didn't you bring medicine, humanitarian aid, a sign of life to my family?
No, we don't do that anymore. We pivoted to just being a rideshare app. It's pretty cool.
Aren't you the Red Cross?
Yeah, we cross between Israel and Gaza. It's kind of our new thing.
What?
Simply download the app, book your ride, and we'll be there within 15 months.
Am I going to see my family now?
Of course, of course. We just need to make one teensy pit stop and go do a ceremony in front of a bunch of terrorists where you guys smile and wave and pretend like you're old friends from sleepaway camp. Is that cool?
Red Ride. We'll be with you the entire 200 meters of a ride literally anyone else could have driven.
All right, we're here. If you could just rate the experience, it really helps. And no pressure, but Hamas always gives 5 stars.
You.
Yep, probably deserve that.
Red Ride. It's like Uber, but with a Nobel Peace Prize.
Look, nobody wants to make humor like this, but when you're angry, sometimes satire is the best way to get it out. Some more humor about the same topic. This is from 2 years ago. Alex Danzig is a renowned historian who has dedicated his life to Holocaust education. He spent the last 30 years working at Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem. He's been missing since Hamas terrorists attacked his home in Nir Oz. We stand in solidarity with his family and pray for his return. Here's a follow-up. Returnees from Gaza have confirmed that Alex Danzig is alive, fairly well, and even giving lectures to fellow hostages. His son-in-law on Israeli radio, well, at least he now has a captive audience. Would any of us make that joke and have it be received in good taste? No. Who are the only people who are going to make that joke? Family, because they are grieving. Alex Danzig is no longer with us. I hope his family is able to heal and maybe even laugh sometime. We're just about done. I'm going to open up to questions in a minute. Anything you want to know about Israel, Israeli humor, Aliyah, anything at all, please feel free to ask. Let's watch one more clip from Yossi Tarablus answering my question after October 7th. They said, when are we going to be able to laugh again? I thought the show must go on. That's how it always seemed to be in Israel. But clearly after October 7th, things were different. Here's when he says it's okay to laugh.
But it's just something that you feel. There is no chart. There is no statistics, and there's no Excel of whether or not we have comedy or not. It's how the people feel. Never throughout history did we have something like this.
We never question why we cry, right? It's a human response. We should not question why we laugh. And have you ever heard the phrase, people always say that Hamas celebrates death and Israel celebrates life? You ever think about what that means? It means that the Shabbat after October 7th, communities all over the world said, come to synagogue this weekend, dance, pray, sing. In Israel, keep getting married, keep having children, because there's going to be plenty of time to mourn, but we have to force ourselves to keep going. So I hope from this you can take a bit of joy, a bit of laughter. Times are not always easy, but we have to keep laughing and look ahead. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. What questions can I answer for you?
We're just going to put the microphone in here, so if you want to step to the microphone so everybody can hear you.
Now they're really going to be shy. In the meantime, while you're thinking, I'm going to pull up a QR code. I put out a newsletter every once in a while with more things that Israelis have been laughing at recently. You could just point your phone at that. No questions. Well, if there are no questions, I'm going to give you one last pitch. I've been in the States for 3 weeks talking about Israeli humor and my book, Israel 201. If you want to be wonderful people, I have about 25 copies left. that we'll either sell tonight or we'll schlep on the airplane all the way back to Israel. Joel and I wanted to write another type of book about Israel. Right? Enough of the occupation and the war and the conflict. If you've been to Israel before, you know that that does not define a country. Right? Israel, people get up, they go to work, they go to school, they go jogging on the beach, they meet friends for coffee. We wanted to explore 75 little ways that Jewishness and Israeliness permeate Israeli society in ways you would never imagine. Shomer Shabbat car insurance. If you are religious and don't drive on the Sabbath, why should you pay for that day of car insurance? In Israel, you do not have to pay for that seventh day if you're religious. Do you watch Fauda? Anybody watch Fauda on Netflix? How did a tiny show from a little entertainment industry get to be a worldwide hit? We interviewed Avi Sakharov, the co-creator of Fauda, who told us, when you don't have hundreds of millions of dollars of CGI and special effects and movie stars, you rely on authenticity and storytelling. We interviewed my vet to find out, why are there so many street cats? Have you noticed the cats everywhere? There's a Jewish answer behind it. You might think you know, but you don't know. But also, we didn't want to write some rah-rah Israel book saying that everything is perfect there, because it's not. Just like it's not perfect in any country. We interviewed Susan Weiss, the head of the Center for Women's Justice, who told us that in Israel, a woman can be a CEO, she can be a fighter pilot, she can even be prime minister, but she still cannot file for divorce without the consent of her husband. So there is more work to do. But maybe most interestingly to, I think, all of us, we wanted to profile the Israeli, because we believe you cannot understand Israel without understanding Israelis. The guys in Germany, they were not like us. Where does chutzpah come from? Where does the bluntness come from? Why is it that people may run you off, what's the slogan? They may run you off the road, but then they'll be the first one to help you up, invite you for Shabbat dinner. Why is there such a feeling of home and family there? We interviewed Tamar Katriel, an anthropologist who explains all these things to us. It is a very easy to read book. People ask, is it a comedic book? It is a serious book that is lighthearted. There are comedic moments. There are moments that will make you, facepalm. My hands are full, so I can't do that. But there are things that will drive you crazy. There are things that will make you cry. And whether you've never been to Israel or you are Israeli, it will be a new experience unlike any other. Any last questions? The books are for $20. Venmo, credit card, Apple Pay. I'm happy to sign it. Some of you I saw brought a book because you bought it from Joel last time. Bring it. I'm still happy to sign it. I will not charge you for that. And if you know anyone else in Lehigh Valley or anywhere in the States looking for an uplifting Israel program, please feel free to connect them to me. And thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you so much for that presentation. That was really awesome. And most importantly, thank you all for coming tonight, because it's all being together which makes our community great, makes our life better. So have a good night and buy his book. I get 10%.